Alright, what's up everyone, to another video, Full Speed Impulse, and today we're doing a build on a KLX110L. We've been here before, multiple times. You guys know the deal. Only thing it has on it right now is a Yoshimiri exhaust. And hasn't even been jetted or anything like that. We're going to do some of the key mods on this thing to get this thing to be a legit pit bike. We're going to be doing handlebars, Airbox mod, 22mm Mikuni, big bore, DDM rear shock, upgrading the tires to those Midas oversized tires. Got the UFO black plastic going on this thing. This bike is going to be super awesome. And we might have a couple other knickknacks. We might change the gearing and all that stuff. But we're going to get at this bike and get this thing ripping. So this video will have all this content in here. And at any point, if you feel like we've kind of maybe glanced over stuff, we have a separate video for all these upgrades that we've done to the bike. This one's kind of just an overall video of us doing a build on a bike. So I appreciate you guys watching. We'll get at it. All right, so we're going to remove the bars here first. These are 10 mil right here, so we'll get these off. Before we actually get this fully loose or off, we're going to take this stuff off too. And this is going to be just Phillips screws. Most of your screws are underneath here. Make sure you press firmly into it. That way you don't strip that Phillips out. All right, pull that off, slides right off, and you're ready for your new bars. These are really clamped on there. All right, guys, one of our favorite bars here is the XR50. We also like the Mica Pitbike high bars. These are very similar. We actually caught these on sale, so that's why we went with the Pro Taper this time. Slide that on like that. Then we're going to worry about everything else once we get it mounted. All right, tighten down. Slide that on all the way, but you want to make sure, ooh, there you go. So you don't want to, sometimes you got to be careful. You don't want to push it all the way on because it'll actually hang it up. Kind of evenly snug these up. Put our throttle exactly how it was. Like that. It is on all the way. Does not hang up. That is good. We're going to tighten it up. Double check. It's good. All right, so our lever here is just coming up a little bit short, but since you have your bolt going through here, this is actually routed on this side of the number plate. We're going to route it on the other side, and that's going to give us that extra space. Perfect. Just like I said, evenly tighten your screws for absolutely almost everything you do. Anything you do, you always want to go back and forth and tightening. You don't want to tighten one thing. All right, guys, we got a Pro Taper grips here. Big hole always goes on your throttle side. Smaller hole goes on your passenger or your left side. Got the old hairspray, you know our style. Instant freeze. I actually never use this stuff. And just to let you know, when we're doing hairspray, yeah, we always do it with new grips. Using it with old grips, ooh, this one might not be getting good. We might have to get our other one. I think we're almost out of. All right, slip that on just like that. Oh, I like those. Those are good grips. All right, we gotta cut this side off. See, I'm thinking we had our same problem, guys, when we did our first grip on our Kawasaki. I don't know what they do to put this sucker on, but it's like molded in. You are better off, I'm telling you right now, to just get a throttle tube. But unfortunately, here we are, and we're gonna try to make this work. This is going to take some time. All right, guys, we ended up getting this cleaned up fairly decent, but I'm going to tell you guys, we just forgot, buy a throttle tube for this thing. You don't want to have to scrape all this off. But this is what we use to scrape it off. This cut the grip off, and then we'd actually use the little wire brush. Looks like we got it pretty decent. There's still a little rubber on there, so hopefully that doesn't affect us putting this on. I'm gonna try the hairspray, but because of this, it might not stick, and we might have to use glue. Man, just when I think that this thing's empty, it's still more in there. We're gonna pull a little extra. All right. All right, that looks pretty good. We'll see if it sticks. Yep. All right. On to the next part. All right, so see how this stuff is gonna fit. I think it's gonna be the same story, guys. This one now is gonna have to loop over here, which will actually take the bolt out because this wire is on the left side and this cable is on the right side. So we're not gonna be able to loop it through like we did the other one, which doesn't matter because we actually got new plastic for this thing anyways. Yeah. It's so close, but it definitely needs to come over here. Oh. Ah. So, one of the things here, guys, if you could see, remember we had to modify. I don't know why. I have to look at the stock bars should be the same as these. Oh, okay. Well, there's why right there. So on your stock bars, you have a hole that this plugs into. But after you go to aftermarket bars, you're not going to do that anymore. So we got to grind that out. All right, and then that's why we do the tape. So when this goes on, it actually has something to grip and just doesn't swivel all over the place. Too much tape. Okay. Very minimal tape, I guess. Yep, that's gonna be our cat's meow. Screws should tighten it up pretty good. So we still have some other stuff to address here as far as taking stuff off. So we're gonna come back to this, but like our handbrake here is tight. But we also we have a space down here. I'll show you guys in a little bit. We could bend this in or readjust this, and it might help this not be so tight. But right now, our right handbrake cable is tight. This cable, loose, a little tight, but I know there's a spot down here. We can give that a little breathing room if needed. Clutch. Clutch seems fine. I think the handbrake is the only one, or sorry, I think the front handbrake is the only one giving us issues. Guys, next step here, we got a light bar, which maybe not necessarily one of the best mods, let's say, for a 110. But if you do rip at nighttime, it's definitely a must-have. So we got these brackets here. It's eBay kit here. They're like 30 bucks now. They're cheap. I mean, you got those ones off Baxter Minis, which we have installed. But fortunately, you know, it's all coming from the same place, if you know what I mean. So it don't really matter who you're buying from. So the big thing you do with this stuff, guys, is you don't tighten anything down. So we got the brackets on the light bar, and you can see that we're screwing these on, but we are not putting them tight, because you're going to want everything loose so you can kind of shimmy it all around, and then you'll find your money spot. You want them on the inside, I know that for sure. And we threw a locking washer in here because the threads were god awful in here, and I couldn't imagine this screw going any further down. It was getting hard to make them tight. This one's actually a little snug already. The locking washer made it nice, and obviously it's a locking washer, so that's going to be good. These tabs are going to, see, they're nice, they're flexible. So we're going to be able to bend those out a little bit if we need to. But we're going to try to put them on the outside of the cables. It's gonna be a long video, guys, but I promise you, we're trying to do a little bit in between of showing you guys how to do everything, but still make it a reasonably, video to where it's not an hour long. So if you don't hit me up in the comments being like, you didn't show how to do this, well, that's because it would take an hour of a video for me to show you how to do, and at least take me an hour video to show you how to do every mod, so each complete step by step of what we did. So this is what we're trying to like not do. We're trying to give you guys a reasonable size video with all the mods that we like to do that makes this thing a fun pit bike. So we're gonna thread it in. Obviously, that's not pointing right. But now we're starting to get somewhere. I'm gonna tighten this up right here. Definitely tighten these ones up first. So you can see how these clamps are kind of moving around. I think the clamps on the bars will be the last ones we move. Perfect way to adjust, and actually that looks 20 times better. How crazy is that? We just literally loosened these things up, tapped it with a rubber ground hammer, and now we're dialed in. It's a little... It's hard to ask for perfection. Again, you gotta bend brackets, you gotta tighten, you know, so many different, you know, spots up. But in the end, it's a light bar that floods completely out. So as long as visually staring at it, it's acceptable and it's not gonna drive you nuts. All right, now it looks pretty good. All right, guys, so our next step here, we're actually gonna work on our fork tubes. We're gonna put 15 weight fluid in these. You got stock is 10, and if your bike's not brand new, you probably should change the fluid anyways because it's probably cooked in there. Imagine this stuff's probably pretty dirty. So we're gonna slide those out and just show you guys how we do it. These shocks are a little bit different than what maybe you're used to for forks. This here has just a clip in there. So what you wanna do is actually compress that down, and then you're going to pick that little clip out. And then once you get that clip out, you'll be able to release this and it'll all come apart. So we're gonna add more in here. I'm getting this now from a BBR sheet. So they say 4.6 measured down. Oh yeah, there we go. We're a little bit over the 4.6 mark, which should be okay because that will stiffen the front end up. You can increase the fluid amount. You just got to be careful on how much. Yeah, so it's right between, we're at like 4 1/4. So we got like an extra 1/4 inch of fluid in there. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, guys, I'll show you how to reinstall this here. It's really simple. Actually getting it out was a little bit more of a pain, but using 2 picks wasn't a problem. So this is how we do it. And it actually, once we get in the groove of things, it's not too bad. So we got our jack, and we go up, try to keep it even as possible. Make sure you got your clip on there. And you're gonna go up and you're gonna see the fork compressing. All right, so we get to that point right there. And actually, just to help assist it, we kind of pull up, and then that's gonna allow that groove to be exposed. And like I said, getting this in is way easier. As you can see, it's in there. And all you do is put your black cap on, and we're good to go. All right, so before we hook up our light, we're gonna remove our back fender here because I told you guys we're doing all plastics. And when you do your rear fender, all this stuff's gotta come out. It just is what it is. So before we go, you know, put more wires to this thing, let's get this all set up back here. So just kind of get at it. There is screws everywhere. Yeah, it comes off just like that. It'll come out. Let's connect our battery. Ooh, that's probably original battery, maybe. It's got a little corrosion on there. pull that tab out. It comes right out. Same thing with this one. And this stuff should just pull right off. Kind of just, I think we're all good here. Kind of just wiggles out some stuff here. My God. All right, and then you got 2 more screws back here for your flat. Don't forget your rubber pieces here, all this stuff. And we're gonna address these rivets here. We don't have a rivet gun, but I'm thinking about actually remounting this stuff. I just gotta get some screws and do some modifications on the new fender. All right, guys, we're kind of fast forwarding through here. We got the rear fender on, got everything wired in. Even was able to get that bracket on, drilled some holes. And this plastic had holes in it. Just if you had a rivet gun, obviously that would be top notch there, but we don't. So we ended up screwing those in. Everything came together real nice. We're starting to do our wiring and all that. But before we do our wiring, we're messing with our airbox. So we already we had to take the airbox off to pull that snorkel out. And then we put the airbox back on. And then we scratched the line throughout here. So we're going to take the airbox off. We got a Dremel tool out. We're going to route that out. Then we got to take a screen out inside there. And that is our mod for the airbox. You can see how small that hole is. We're going to open it up to the full size here. And then we don't put the snorkel back on. And we've never had an issue, guys, of getting mud, water, dirt, whatever. It works just as good, but allows you to get more airflow with your stock airbox instead of spending like $140 for a BBRU flow just to go through a puddle and suck water into your engine, which is no bueno. So if you're doing trail riding and stuff like that, that is the mod for you. We've ran the BBRU flow, and it's not it for the game, guys. All right, so I know we're hopping around a little bit, but we're just addressing as we see. You got this little bracket here for your clutch cable. We just bend that up. It was pointed down. You can see the tensions on here. Now you can see it's free floating, and it's pretty good. It's got a little, but that's going to be okay. I think we could push it. We got to get a different carb on here. We'll see what it does. We might have to remove that bracket, but as of right now, we're not going to. We might look at our other bike. Throttle cable, there's a little clamp that goes through here and went through that bolt. We undid that. That loosened it up. That's good. Next thing here to address is this guy. Right here, you can see it's got tension on it. I think with mine, whew, what else is going through here? Oh, we got both wires. Oh man, they're pulling out of that. All right, we got to fix that. All right, we fixed it. Whew, that was close. We just routed the wires on the backside, and then we'll put a zip tie here. We got to get rid of that guy. But we'll put a zip tie here, and then we just run the wires on the backside, and it'll be good to go. And that stuff, like, you're going to have to address doing tall bars. Now, you could have bought longer cables and all that. Maybe they make extension wires for that stuff, but that's way easier. We got the light all wired up. We put our switch, kind of a different spot for us, but it was just clicking good because the wire comes out right here. That's where the wire is for the light bar. So we're able to just keep them nice and joined. Got a zip tie there. Make sure you have slack turning both ways. You want to make sure it turns the other way. It doesn't pinch. It wants to come right through here. That is absolutely perfect. Went through here, and we had a little extra slack, so we put that in there with the zip tie. Comes through. Got it going directly to our box on the negative. Now you could put the negative on on the frame or somewhere like that, but since the wires were coming out evenly, and that's how they have it set up, we just went right off the battery for both. And yeah. That looks professional, guys. It looks real good. So now it's time to do that airbox. All right, we just got done routing that hole out. Nothing pretty, but she's going to get the job done. Got it cleaned up. Super dusty. This right here, you want to take out. Sometimes you got to grind that tab off, but sometimes you could just yank it out. We're going to see what happens for us. Sorry, guys. Only had one hand. But yep, she ripped right out. Easy peasy. And that's all you have to do. That's the mod. We're going to clean up all your grooves there so we get a good seal. But, yeah, we'll be on to the next step. All right, so here's the deal. We already knew it was going to happen, but our brother-in-law came with the big bore kit and the goodies. You know, we just got right after him. Fortunately, we didn't film anything, but at the same time, for me to film a whole engine build as far as doing a big bore kit and all that would make this video crazy long, right? So we already expected that. So we have already videos on doing multiple big bores on our KLXs, so just check those out. They're great in detail and it will help you step by step. But this video is meant to show you one of our favorite builds for a KLX and just turning them into a great pit bike. So let's show you guys what we got done. All right, guys, there she is. Man, I mean, she's pretty much all done. We just had a little hiccup. So this is a 2019, actually. Or no, I'm sorry. This is still like a 2021 or something like that. But in 2019, they changed their cam decompression lever. So we've never messed with this style. And I think this is what's causing us a little hiccup. So at like higher RPMs, it almost feels like it's hitting the limiter a little fast. Now, as far as our timing marks, that is correct, but our decompression lever seems like it's off. So what I'm thinking, I can be completely wrong, but I think it's engaging that decompression lever when we're at higher RPMs. And I don't even know if that's possible or not, but something's not right in this bike, so we got to figure that out. Plastic and all that went on great, as usual. UFO is awesome plastic for a great price. So got our modded Airbox on there. Everything fit good. And over here, guys, got that 22 mil Mikuni. And like I told you, you guys use your stock top. All you got to do is change the slide out for the 22 that comes in with that carb. And you are good to go. All this fits right up. And you could use your stock fuel line. You're just going to reverse it. So instead of the fuel line where it has the elbow and goes into here, you're going to switch that and put the elbow on the other side and then route this in here. And that should work. Going to have to use a hose clamp like this to kind of squeeze that tight so it doesn't leak any fuel. But yeah, I mean, she came together great. Yoshimiri pipe. Sounds awesome. All right, guys, but last part of this video here, let's get this thing timed right, running great. And that'll be it. And I'm just telling you, this is such a great budget build. I mean, nothing's cheap. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, you're just putting a little big bore, just a jug and a piston in this thing. Mod your Airbox. That's free, right? 22 mil Mikunis don't cost that much. So that's also a nice little upgrade. And it's just a great way to make power with these bikes and have good low to mid-range power, which, again, is great for trail riding and all that. And obviously, it's good for the track. But you do usually prefer top-end power for the track. And really, the only thing you would change if you're wanting to go on the track is you could put a cam in there and then switch to like a BBRU flow that gives you more airflow. You can go to like a 26 Mikuni, a bigger car. But I tell you, this 22, man, we just threw that thing in there and she just fires up. But let's get this thing done. Okay, so you have this line here that goes to this one right here. But you also have these lines, which I think are supposed to match up. That's got a little line on this here. So when this comes to right there, you guys can see there is a line right here. There you go. Now it's, so we want that, I believe what they're saying, at 12 o'clock. So we got to kind of finagle this thing on and get that lined up. So that might have been causing our issues. Alright, guys, we're just going to show you the problem we're having. We got that all timed up. We have the insert on this Yoshimiri. This is a really great pipe. It has great flow to it. That might be actually hurting us right now. So we got the reducer in, or whatever you want, the little silencer guy on the, that's going to help restrict it. And right now we got the intake on. That's not bad. So let's pop our air boot off, our intake boot. Now she's breathing. She needs air. That Airbox, and you should hear it when it's got the tip off, it's even better, but yeah, she needs air. All right, guys, there she is, our KLX110 build. She came out super awesome. So what we ended up having here is that we thought it was a timing issue. We ended up retiming it anyways, but pretty sure it was right the first time. When we slapped that 22 mil on, we didn't look at the jets. And it actually had a way bigger main jet on there, and it was throwing everything off. Got the stock jet, which like comes with an oddball 107 in that 22 Mikuni, which is perfect for this setup. We adjusted that air fuel a little bit, and she is running good, guys. She fires right up. Probably at the idle just a smudge low. That's why you gotta give it a little throttle. But that's the setup, guys. Great power. The thing runs awesome. You don't need to put no BBR rev box or do any of that stuff. With the stock cam and all that, the power curve's perfect on this thing. It runs all the way out to the limiter. Great bottom end, mid-range, increase on this thing. The thing pulls wheelies like no other now. And the nice thing with the bigger tires and all that, you're not going to get this flats. It's going to be able to absorb rocks a lot better. You're not going to bend a rim. It's just great. We got the silencer out of this thing, so she sounds crisp. All right, one thing we forgot to add in here, guys, is that DDM rear shock. Got that thing all installed. It's easy peasy, super simple. We actually just did a video on installing a rear shock on a KLX, so go check out that video if you want the full lowdown on that. But short story is, the shock itself is a little bit shorter from eye to eye, so that actually helps drop your rear end down. I believe you still have the same suspension travel, but it dips it down, which makes the bike way more enjoyable to ride and all that, so you don't feel like you're getting bucked off, whether you're a kid or adult. It's a great upgrade to do, both for suspension, as far as feel of the bike, and then just how it sits. So, all right, guys, but that's it for this build. I hope you guys liked it. Hope it helps you guys out in whatever project you guys got going on, and make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to have another build coming up here real soon. I appreciate you, and you guys know the deal. Until next time, we'll see you later.